Long before audiences filled theaters singing every word of Copacabana, Barry Manilow was simply a boy growing up in Brooklyn, New York, searching for comfort in music. The world would eventually know him as one of the most successful entertainers of his generation, a songwriter whose melodies became the soundtrack to weddings, road trips, celebrations, and heartbreaks. His concerts would sell out across continents, and millions would recognize his unmistakable voice within seconds. But none of that existed in the beginning. There was no spotlight. No orchestra. No standing ovations. Only a small apartment where music became an escape from the uncertainty of everyday life. Born Barry Allen Pincus on June 17, 1943, he entered a world shaped by ordinary struggles rather than celebrity. His parents separated when he was very young, leaving his mother to raise him through years that demanded resilience more than comfort. Like many children growing up in post-war Brooklyn, Barry learned early that life rarely followed a perfect script. Money wasn't abundant. Space was limited. Dreams often had to compete with practical realities. Yet inside those modest surroundings, something remarkable began to grow. Barry developed a fascination with sound. He listened carefully to the music that drifted through radios, neighborhood windows, and record players. Songs seemed capable of expressing emotions that ordinary conversations often left behind. Long before he understood harmony or composition, he sensed that melodies could tell stories words sometimes could not. That discovery quietly shaped his future. As he grew older, music became more than a hobby. It became the place where he felt most at home. Hours that other children spent outside were often replaced by practice sessions, experimenting with melodies, learning instruments, and studying how songs were built piece by piece. He wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing understanding. Every note taught him something new. Every mistake pushed him toward improvement. Unlike many future stars whose early careers seemed destined for instant success, Barry's journey would be built slowly, through discipline rather than luck. His teachers noticed his dedication. Friends recognized his patience. While others dreamed about becoming famous, Barry became fascinated by the craft itself. How did a simple melody stay in someone's mind for decades? Why did certain songs comfort people during difficult moments? What separated a good song from one that generations would continue singing? Those questions stayed with him. After high school, Barry continued studying music, determined to build a career in an industry that offered very few guarantees. He attended college to strengthen his musical education, spending countless hours learning arranging, composition, harmony, and performance. Talent alone, he realized, wasn't enough. Success demanded preparation. It required consistency. Those years rarely attracted headlines. But they built the foundation for everything that followed. Instead of becoming discouraged by slow progress, Barry viewed every assignment as another lesson. Whether writing a short musical phrase or helping shape someone else's performance, he treated each project with remarkable attention to detail. Without realizing it, he was preparing himself for opportunities much larger than he could imagine. The public still had no idea who he was. Yet inside recording studios and rehearsal rooms, professionals were beginning to notice something special. Barry possessed an unusual understanding of emotion in music. He didn't simply arrange songs. He found ways to make listeners feel connected to them. That ability would eventually become his signature. Years later, millions would believe Barry Manilow appeared almost overnight. The truth was very different. His breakthrough was being built quietly, one rehearsal, one arrangement, and one late-night practice session at a time. Soon, an unexpected opportunity would introduce him to an energetic young performer named Bette Midler. Their partnership would change the direction of his career forever. And only a few years later, a song called Mandy would transform an unknown musician into one of the biggest recording stars in America. But with extraordinary success came expectations that would follow him for decades. Audiences fell in love with the performer they saw beneath the bright stage lights. very few knew the private man behind the microphone. As his popularity continued growing, Barry would discover that becoming famous could sometimes make it even harder to simply be himself. Long before Barry Manilow's name appeared on concert marquees around the world, his music was already reaching millions of people, most of them without realizing who had written it. His days were spent in recording studios rather than on concert stages. Instead of performing for cheering crowds, he sat behind pianos, worked through arrangements, and searched for melodies that could capture attention in only a few seconds. One of his earliest jobs was writing commercial jingles. It may not have sounded glamorous, but it became one of the greatest training grounds of his career. Many Americans unknowingly heard his work while watching television. The jingles became familiar, but the songwriter behind them remained almost completely anonymous. It was an unusual kind of success. His music entered countless homes while his own name stayed hidden. Rather than becoming frustrated, Barry viewed those years as an education. He learned how audiences listened. He studied how emotion could be created through a simple chord progression. Most importantly, he discovered that a truly unforgettable melody often sounded effortless, even though it required countless hours of careful work. As his reputation grew within the music industry, new opportunities began appearing. One opportunity would change everything. In the early 1970s, Barry began working with an energetic young performer named Bette Midler. She possessed extraordinary charisma, fearless confidence, and a stage presence unlike almost anyone else in entertainment. Barry became her pianist, arranger, and musical director. Although Bette stood at center stage, Barry quietly helped shape the musical foundation beneath every performance. Night after night, he learned valuable lessons that no classroom could ever teach. He watched audiences react in real time. He discovered how silence could be just as powerful as sound. He saw firsthand how great performers connected emotionally with thousands of strangers at once. Those experiences transformed him.